Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about everything makeup brushes, from applying your foundation to setting your powder and everything in between. The reason I'm doing this is because a lot of times people buy brushes and they think that it's specifically for one thing. You can mix and match your brushes. They don't have to be for one thing in particular. You can use them for different things, and I'll get into that as I talk about each brush. So if you want to see everything makeup brushes, just stay tuned. Okay, so first things first, we're going to talk about foundation brushes, and there are so many ways to apply foundation, starting with your fingers. And obviously you want to make sure that your fingers are clean before you start rubbing them all over your face. I mean, we're all human, we all do it. So your fingers are your first tool for applying foundation to your skin. Next up is a beauty blender, or a knockoff version like the one I'm holding here. Obviously it's dry and that's why it's teeny tiny, but the way this is used, you wet it or dampen it. I mean, obviously if you put too much in, just squeeze all of the water out. Once it's wet, it swells up to a bigger teardrop shape. And this is really good because it's got this pointed tip. So you can use the back of the beauty blender sponge, or the beauty sponge, whatever you want to call it, and you just bounce it on your skin, and it gives you a really flawless application, almost like an airbrush finish. So you just bounce it, bounce it, bounce it. Then you can turn it on its side and kind of, you know, get up in the corners, because this point really allows you to get up underneath your eye, you know, in the corners of your nose, around your nose, and that sort of thing. So next I have the stippling brush. Obviously this is the small stipple brush. This is by e.l.f. So this was only like $3, super affordable, but is identical to the MAC brush that is just like this. The small stipple brush from MAC is the exact same thing. So basically what you do with this one, you dab into your foundation and you tap into your skin. And this is really good for those who have larger pores, because with these bristles the way they are, by tapping into the skin, it really helps fill in all those fine lines and pores and all that good stuff. And you can slightly buff with this brush. Just use circular motions going in a downward stroke. Next we're going to talk about this flat foundation brush. It's shaped just like a paintbrush. This is another one by e.l.f. It's called the Professional Foundation Brush. And this is really good for, you know, and it's tapered, so it's you know, they make them in different sizes. There's smaller ones, bigger ones, you know, just depending on your preference. There are no rules when it comes to applying makeup. Keep that in mind. So this is really good for just painting on your foundation. You can use this to really blend everything out, or you can use this to just apply it and then use a buffing brush or even a beauty blender to really blend everything out nicely. But really, if this is all you have, this will get the job done too. Next, you have the pointed foundation brush. This one is by Sonia Kashuk, and I tend to really like this brush because it is tapered, and it's, you know, it's dense, but it's soft. So it's kind of like a mix between using a buffing style type of brush and the flat foundation brush. You can kind of paint, but it really blends nicely because it is soft. You can really, you know, really get into the corners underneath your eye, you know, in the inner corner, around your nose. But this is a really good choice for applying your foundation. For me, it's a buffing style brush. This one is by Makeup Academy. It looks like this. I bought this at CVS. It was kind of pricey. It was $18. So for drugstore, that's quite expensive. But these are my favorite type of brushes. I have, my other favorite is my Sonia Kashuk buffing brush, and it's a domed shape brush. This one is duofiber, and I like this because it's between a, like a powder, but it's like stippling at the same time. So I don't know, it's really good for me because I have such large pores. I can really stipple this where I really need it, and then use it to really buff out where I want the foundation to go, and it gives a really clean, flawless application. This is actually called the BB/CC Cream brush by Makeup Academy. I don't know where else you can purchase these. Like I said, I bought this one at CVS, but this is my favorite type of brush to apply foundation. This domed shaped type of brush that's in between like a stippling brush. So yeah, this is a hybrid brush for me. Next, I have another e.l.f. brush. This is the e.l.f. powder brush, but this is also very good for, and this is going back to what I said earlier about, even though it says powder brush, this is really good for applying foundation. It's very soft, but it's flat, as you can see. It's flat. So it's really good for just, you know, really using circular motions and just blending that out. Because it is so soft, this will give you a more sheer finish. It's not going to give you full coverage unless you just, you know, pack on more and more foundation. But if you're using like a BB cream or a tinted moisturizer or something to that effect, even if you use a full coverage foundation with this type of brush, it's really going to give you a light application. So I like this brush, and again, this was only like, I don't know, a few bucks at the drugstore or at Target, I'm sorry. But yeah, not only can you use this for powder, you can also use this for your foundation. So now we're going to talk about concealer. I don't know if you remember that pointed foundation brush that I showed you, but that is really good for applying concealer underneath your eyes because it is tapered the way it is. But we're going to start off with this one here. This one is by Posh. It says foundation brush, so it's very similar to the one that I showed you by e.l.f., but because it's a lot smaller, this is really, really good for applying foundation underneath your eye area. You can use this to blend it out. You can use it just to apply and then use your fingertips to, you know, just kind of pat foundation where you want it to blend out to. It's not very good for, you know, spot concealing, but I would say for the under eye area, this is perfect. Next up, I have another e.l.f. brush. This is the Flawless Concealer Brush. It looks like this. It's domed. Sorry, it's dirty because, let me tell you a secret. I use my makeup brushes. So yeah, it's dirty because I use it, but this, I love this for applying concealer. It really gives you a smooth blend because it is so soft, it's domed. So you can, you know, tap it on, you can use your fingers to apply it and then use this to just really smooth everything out. I even use this for my under eye setting powder. Once again, multi-uses for your brushes. Don't think that it's only for applying concealer. Next, this is a no name. This is a Jane Doe. We'll call this one Jane Doe. It doesn't have a name. This was bought in a kit that I purchased from Ross. And I like this for concealer. It's very similar to the last brush I showed you because it is domed and it's fluffy. And I have smaller eyes, so this is really good for getting in my inner corner, kind of, you know, rubbing my concealer in or just patting it in my area. You can get, you know, around your nose. Sometimes it's good to have, you know, a small, a medium, and a large of all the brushes that you use, no matter what they are for, just because some fit in better places than others. So yeah, I like this one, and it's really good for spot concealing because it's such a small, rounded tip. So yeah, Jane Doe is the e.l.f. Professional Concealer Brush, and this is what I'm talking about for spot concealing. You want a small brush like this. It's basically made the same exact way as the it's made the same exact way as these two, just teeny tiny, as you can see. It is a lot smaller, and I like this one for spot concealing. So if I have a pimple or a blemish that I really want to cover up, it's really good to just tap on that particular area and then use a bigger brush to kind of blend everything in together. So we are going to talk about powder. Now, you remember the e.l.f. Powder brush that I showed you is flat on the top and kind of shaped like this. That is a good brush for setting your powder. Actually, you can use, my God, you can use that really for anything. I've used it to apply bronzer. I've used it to apply blush. I've used it to blend. I've used it to apply foundation. I've used it to set my foundation with powder. You can use it for different things. But we're going to talk about powder brushes. So this is one that I bought from Icing, and I don't hear anybody talking about these brushes from the Icing store. And for those of you that don't know what Icing is, it is very similar to like a Claire's, just a lot better quality. So this is the Expert Powder Brush. As you can see, it's huge mongus, nice and fluffy. And this is really good for you know, dipping into your setting powder, your compact pressed powder, and just tapping it on your face to kind of set your makeup in place when you're using liquid or cream products on your skin. Or you can just use this to kind of buff all over, you know, to a lot of times when I apply my bronzer and then my blush, I'll use a brush like this to just really, you know, blend the two together so it's a seamless application. But yeah, icing, I have the Expert Powder Kabuki brush, and it is basically the same brush, just on a tiny baby handle. And this is my favorite brush for applying powder. I really reach towards this more than I gravitate towards the other one because, I don't know, it's just something about the Kabuki brush that I really, really like. And I put my face powder on with this brush. I just tap my face powder all over my face, mainly in my T-zone. And when I'm done with my face products, I use this to kind of blend everything together. Last but not least, this is called the Powder Poof or the Powder Puff. Sorry, I'm not trying to shoot you off. This is a mini version of one. This one is by Sonia Kashuk, but this is good for applying powder when you're just even on the go. Because it's so small, you can put this in your pocket if you wanted to. I don't know why you would want to, but you know, you want to keep it clean because you are putting, you know, stuff on your face. And my suggestion to you is, if you're using a powder puff like this, if you have oily skin like I do, you want to get you a blotting sheet and really get that excess oil out, because think about it, if you don't, you're just putting all the oil into your powder puff, and I mean, that's not gonna give you good results. So anyway, so you just take your powder puff, you know, you can swirl it or you can tap it into your powder, and you kind of just press. You can, you know, use the rolling motion like this when you're applying it on your face, and you can apply your powder that way. So yeah, these are really cute. They come in, you know, full size, which is twice the size of this one. This is the one I had grabbed first, so this is the one I'm showing. But you get the idea of what I'm saying, right? Okay, moving on to highlighting. When you're using a highlight, there's different kinds. Obviously, there's cream, liquid, and powder, just like any other product that you buy, well, except lipstick. But basically, when you're using a cream highlight, you can just put it on your finger and just kind of tap, you know, where you want to highlight, on your Cupid's bow, whatever. But my favorite way is to use a fan brush. This is one by e.l.f. Can you tell that I like e.l.f.? And you want to know why? Because they're great brushes at great prices. I mean, their brushes are all around either $5 and under. Some are $1, some are $3, and some are like $6. So anyway, this is a fan brush. This is what it looks like, and you know why they call it a fan brush, because hello, it looks like a damn fan. Okay, so you take the brush, and this picks up the least amount of product, and that's why it's good for highlighting. So you just kind of dust it into your highlight, and you just, you know, you can fan it like this, or you can tap it where, you know, you can put it on your nose, you know, fan it onto your Cupid's bow, on your chin, wherever you want to highlight. This gives you such a beautiful application. I mean, everybody and their mama should have one of these. They make them a lot thicker. I don't have any of the large ones, but the large ones are really good for contouring, applying blush, all that good stuff. So, you know, multi-purpose, but yes, the fan brush. Okay, now we're going to talk about bronzer. And the first one I'm going to talk about is this BH Cosmetics bronzing brush. It looks like this. It's kind of flat, as you can see, but it's a nice size, and because it's so flat, it's really good for getting into the hollows of your cheek. Or you can turn it this way and really just kind of bronze and give yourself a nice all-over face kind of glow. I prefer to do it this way first and then turn it like this and kind of buff it out. So yeah, this is the BH Cosmetics bronzing brush. Next, this is another Jane Doe, or we could call him John Doe. I don't care, whichever one. So anyway, this brush here it's really dense. As you can see, it's rounded, but it's short. I don't even know how to describe this, but this is really good for contouring because it's going to pick up a lot of product. So that's why I say it's great for contouring, because when you're contouring, you want that dark shade like right into the hollows of your cheek or down the sides of your nose. in your temples and on your jawline, down your neck and all that kind of stuff. So this is really good for applying bronzer because of the shape. So honestly, I don't even know what this is called. It's some sort of little buffing brush, but I like to apply it for contouring. Next up is another e.l.f. brush. This is one of their professional brushes from the professional line, and it is called the bronzing brush. It is angled. It is shaped like this, and this also is really good for contouring or just applying bronzer to just give yourself a nice glow. Because it is angled, you can turn it this way and really get into that hollow of your cheekbone, you know, or you can turn it on its side and kind of just buff everything out. It's a wonderful brush for $1. I mean, come on, seriously, $1 freaking dollar. Go get you some. Now we're going to talk about blush. Starting off with the BH Cosmetics. It's very, very similar to that bronzing brush that I had, except for it's a lot smaller. It's about half the size. And the reason I use this for, and you know, I could be wrong because they don't have the names. They could be switched and whatever, but it's all on preference. It's whatever you prefer to apply on your face, and that's what you need to do. So the reason I go for the smaller one for my blush, because when you smile, you see the apples of your cheek. This gives you a really precise application right on the apples of your cheek when you use the tip of it, and when you turn it on its side, you can blend your blush upwards and just really, you know, get it where you want it. And it's a little tiny, it looks like a little face powder brush. This is by Essence of Beauty, and it's called the Blusher Brush. So it is shaped like this. And once again, it is so fluffy, so it's going to pick up the least amount of product, which is kind of what you want when you're applying blush. You want to build. You don't want to put a whole shitload of blush on your face and then look like a damn clown. So you want to go light and build your way up. So, you know, it's really good for just getting it right on there and just, you know, blending it out. And it's lovely. And it's good for travel because it's so small. Okay, now we're going to talk about this angled blush brush. Looks like this. And this is a high definition brush. Got this at Walmart, and it is so soft, let me just tell you. I actually use this for blush and bronzer, just whatever is clean, whatever I'm feeling like that day. But I like to take it this way and just really in one motion just put my blush on and blend it out all at the same time, all with one brush. I can actually apply my bronzer, dip into my blush, and blend the two together all in one step. Now we're going to talk about your eyebrows for a second. There are two ways that you could groom your brows. One is by using a spoolie. This is the one I grabbed. It's by Sonia Kashuk. I have quite a few of these from different places. e.l.f. has one. But basically, it's very similar to a mascara wand. Basically, that's exactly what it is on a long handle. And you just take this and really just brush and through your eyebrow. Really lay those bad boys down in place. So yeah, spoolie. Next up, this is by Ulta Professional, and it's the Lash and Brow Groomer. It looks like this. It is the one that's got the actual brush and comb on it. I don't really like these for combing through my eyebrows. I don't know, I prefer a spoolie, but this is an option if you choose to do so. Once again, you can use the brush side to brush through your eyebrow hairs, or you can use the comb if you've got some nappy ass eyebrows. I don't know, I'm just saying. So use the comb. But the reason I picked this up, if you can see, the comb part is metal. And what I really like this for, and I have one by Sonia Kashuk as well, and it's a travel size. So I like to use this when I've applied my mascara and it's clumpy or my eyelashes are stuck together. So I take the metal comb part and I start about halfway through my eyelashes. I don't put this bad boy on my eyelash line because that's a good way to poke your damn eyeball out. So you just start about the midway point of your eyelashes and just comb in an upward stroke, and it will really separate them and remove all the clumps. And then I just take my fingers and kind of pull on it like this, and it'll take the excess mascara off of the comb, and then I'm good to go. I do wash these just like I wash all of my other makeup brushes, and yeah, So you could find these, I don't know, the ones with the metal, I don't know. I've seen them at Sephora. This one came from Ulta, and like I said, I have one from Sonia Kashuk, which you can purchase at Target.